So, with the resolution of the journey of the Tut, some of you pointed out how the Nakul attacked the Tholians with time travel in 2270 in order to stop them from destroying their sun. I'm going to include this when I finish this time travel chapter of STO with the customary recap of the Temporal Cold War, but in the meantime I did forget to make any mention of it in the last video. Federation intervention saved the Tholians back then, who, centuries later, then attacked the Nakul with the Tut in retaliation, creating the incident in the first place that ensured the Nakul's militarization and mobilization into a temporal faction, thus Paradox. Admiral Hale was never going to be able to change these events, as he was unknowingly already a part of the Paradox in 2 times. Like I say, I'll cover the whole mess of things with the eventual chapter conclusion. But speaking of the Temporal Cold War, even though the main event that triggers it, the signing of the Temporal Accords, does not take place until 2769, time travel sort of necessitates the awareness and compliance of parties from other eras. As a result, the Federation of our era, 2410, while not signing the Accords, because they will in the future anyway, they will be sending representatives to observe the event. Admiral Quinn contacts us to tell us just this.
We have been contacted by the Federation from the 29th century. Their Temporal Integrity Commission is charged with protecting the timeline from factions who might want to change history. Considering our recent experiences, we feel the need to better understand the rules of time travel. However, it's important we don't know too much about the future, so we have decided to designate one representative to learn what we need to know. Given your record, you were the logical choice. You are to rendezvous with the USS Postok. Her captain will give you a more thorough briefing upon arrival.
We are still in the region of the Nakul collapsed star, a potent reminder of the dangers of time travel and the need for such regulation. I don't know why he's so set on sending me though. I don't need to learn about temporal mechanics, I've already done lots of time travelling and... Oh, right. Our current course, after utilising the Transwarp network and Dyson Sphere gateways to shortcut to the Delta Quadrant, takes us back to the Kiana system, the home of the Krenim research base that we founded at the close of the Iconian War. This was the base where the Krenim researcher Noye, Captain Nog, 7 of 9 and a myriad of other researchers and engineers forged the Anoraks, the timeship that sent us back to ancient Iconia to retrieve the World Heart.
Please report to the USS Postok.
Needless to say, it's an important catalyst for the acceleration into the era of temporal exploration and eventual Cold War. We beam aboard our team. I'm taking my Exo-Tarsi, Chief Scientist Temet, Security Chief Bazar, and the Delta Quadrant Hierarchy Operative Pevru. We've already been aboard the USS Postok and met its captain before, Walker.
It's a pleasure to see you again. I'm glad you were selected as your time's representative. I can't imagine a better selection. Of course, I already knew you were going to be chosen, but that doesn't change my appreciation. Your recent experiences with time travel have begun a new phase of development, and a perilous one at that. Understanding the rules of time travel is of vital importance.
You're patronizing me, I know it. Using the dialogue option to say as a temporal agent you already know about the Temporal Prime Directive actually skips some dialogue, so instead we're going to ask all about it.
Starfleet personnel are strictly forbidden from directly interfering with historical events and are required to maintain the timeline when possible. We're also restricted from revealing too much about the future. These principles have served Starfleet well. Now that the time travel genie is out of the bottle, it'll be hard to get it back in. The tech will spread through the galaxy, and species after species will learn the secrets of time.
We can say, however, that we have seen the need for all of this firsthand. Several times. Captain Walker then tells us that we're about to go to the Temporal Accords era and that the Armiger can follow in his wake. On a more upbeat note, he's been authorised to show us a glimpse into what our alliance building in 2410 eventually leads to, the future we help create.
Are you ready to visit the future?
Welcome to New Khitomer.
Well, it makes a change to be in the future as tourists for once, not on some covert mission or accidental shift. This diplomatic station, the artificial ring around New Khitomer, has been constructed with time travellers in mind, so the station has been, and is continuing to be, swept for anything that might, how to put this, encourage sticky fingers or provide a risk to the timeline should some opportunistic and ambitious time traveller attempt to benefit from future knowledge. Milling around, we can see not only the delegate species from the Temporal Accords themselves, but time travellers from the past who have come to witness this event to better understand that the effort kind of has to be across all eras where time travel was common. We have Romulan Republic agents, Talaxians, Gorn, Klingons, Vulcans, Defari, and many others. Although we can't see many Federation uniforms, but I assure you, the 31st century UFP ambassador is here. All those species have congregated to put into place universal laws to govern temporal interference. However, as we're about to see, not everyone is on the same page.
Here we are. Since you're from the past, I'll be your chaperone during the event, hopefully protecting you from any temporal incidents. Purely procedural, of course. You've already demonstrated your ability to remain silent about things you aren't supposed to know.
Our first point of call is to register with the receptionist, who has our arrival documented, but I do get a bit distracted by the flowy, organic design of 28th century Federation tech.
Welcome, gentle being, to the signing of the Temporal Accords. Your biosigns aren't listed on our register today. I'll need to... wait. I know you. I wrote a paper about you in classical history class at the Academy. I must say, you look much younger than your holo images. Wait, what year did you come from?
Holo images? 2410? Why?
Oh, that explains why you look so young. Well, you sure have an eventful future ahead of you. Forget I said that. I'm not supposed to say things like that. To be honest, I'm still getting used to the new temporal regulations. They can be a little confusing. Anyway, the TIC crews are scrubbing the hall for anything that might cause a paradox if visitors from the past, like yourself, encounter them. It will be just a few moments. Perhaps you would like to chat with some of our other guests here in the lobby. I believe they have all been cleared for trans-temporal interactions. I'm sure you'll have plenty to talk about.
Right. Yes, well, it's good to know I have a reputation that seems to last centuries. Was it for good or... you know what, never mind. We do spot one familiar face in the crowd. Temporal Agent Philip Cray stands aside in a 2410 uniform awaiting to observe alongside us.
Greetings, friend. How may I help you?
Philip Cray, what are you doing here? Last time I saw you, it was at Earth Space Dock.
Same reason as you, I'll imagine. To witness the signing of the Temporal Accords. Usually, temporal agents watch holo recordings of the event. But the three of us were given special dispensation to come and view the Accords personally. Perks for graduating at the top of the class, I suppose.
So why are you a temporal agent then?
Where do I start? I'm 157 years old, but that's only because I spent 90 years caught in a temporal distortion. Back then, I was serving as an ensign under Captain Bateson on the USS Bozeman. After that, integrating back into Starfleet was difficult. So much had changed. Some of my shipmates joined temporal investigations. Their first-hand knowledge of past events was quite useful. Seemed like a way to make a difference. So that's where I ended up as well.
You've told me this before. Do you not recognize me?
Pretty certain we haven't met until just now. Not yet, at least. I just graduated from the Academy as a temporal agent. That being said, it's quite possible that we will meet in the future. Well, my future. Tell you what, I'll try to act surprised when it happens.
Whoops. Okay, let's find someone else to talk to. We do spot a pair of Nakul, who we know eventually will oppose all of this, although at the moment they don't appear aggressive, so we talk to them.
The Nakul are here to protest the signing of these unlawful, biased accords.
Okay, how come?
The Tholians ravaged our homeworld thanks to the Federation's ineptitude. In one dark moment, my people were scattered throughout the stars. All we were, our history, our way of life, was nearly lost. And when we needed the Federation the most, we were denied. Terrorists, they called us. Criminals, the dregs of the galaxy. These words, these deeds will never be forgotten or forgiven.
The only dialogue option here is to deny her argument by saying it has no relevance to today, which I think is a pretty poor counter. I think I get the point though, that the damage has already been done and this is to prevent further alterations. So we'll go with that approach instead.
Today, the Federation and their lackeys come to tell the galaxy which timeline is best and what they'll do to keep it that way. But who are they to dictate such terms? To tell us that their history is more important than ours?
See, now that's an interesting point because clearly the line has to be drawn somewhere with time travel. But inevitably, wherever you put it, someone's going to be on the other side of that line just saying WTF. We can say that it is a question worthy of debate, and I think it is. We can also shrug her off as just losing, or we can reiterate the risks of time travel.
Attention all guests. The main hall is now open. Please make your way to your seats.
Pevro, get off the... There's always one. We wend our way through the corridors. There are 3 to choose from, but they all lead to the main auditorium. All other ways in and out seem to be sealed off, probably for the Temporal Integrity Commission's sake of managing all the guests. The M-class planet below New Khitomer is located in the Gamma Quadrant. In 2410, this planet brushes up against Dominion territory. Now, the Dominion remains a separate entity even now, but there have been major political shifts in the makeup of the UFP and the galaxy at large. For a start, the Alliance, formed in 2409 to confront the Iconians that we took part in, has evolved with time into a new power, the Galactic Union. A grouping of the 3 powers as well as many other affiliated worlds, who were not a part of the Federation but nonetheless wanted to be part of the greater whole, such as the Romulan Republic, which actually went a step further and joined the Federation in earnest sometime in the 26th century. And the Federation ambassador is a Klingon, so interpret that as you will. As for the many other species on display here, well, it's not for certain if they have joined the Galactic Union or not, as they all appear representing their own species' governments, not the Union as a whole. Now, the Nakul we know are not part of the Union, neither are the other opposing factions of the Temporal Cold War, and I'm sure that the Dominion is still a separate entity. However, we aren't told in full, for both in-universe and real-world reasons. In-universe, it's to limit our knowledge of future events. Out of universe, it's because it leaves the era open for exploration in future content, or even shows. Either way, we've been granted front row seats alongside Captain Walker, to whom this is all 100 years old of history. We still have some minutes before the events begin, so we can talk with the signatories themselves, you only need to talk with 7 of them, but come on, as if I'm going to pass up the opportunity to chat up everyone in this room. We'll start by talking to the organiser, a Talaxian woman.
Well, one of our very special guests. It is so nice to meet you. I am Wixit, your humble master of ceremonies for this historic event. Quite an honor, wouldn't you say? So exciting! This ceremony is about to begin, so you should find your seat. But I'd love to chat with you after the signing.
Cool, this is all about to start? Well, it's about time. Huh? God, what year did Humour die in? Jeez. We come across a Xindi ambassador, who is definitely a primate Xindi, not a reptilian wearing a skin suit.
The Xindi are no strangers to temporal affairs. The tragic conflict with Earth in the 22nd century and our manipulation by the Sphere Builders are matters of deep shame for us all. We support the Accords with the hope that they will prevent such tragedies from this day forth.
Yeah, that was a very messy point in history. In fact, some still debate to this day as to whether that always happened or actually changed the timeline. We can also chat to the Cardassian observer.
I must say, I am privileged to witness this historic event. Truly, it is a singular honor. I'm humbled, as I'm sure you are as well.
Oh yeah, no, honoured, thrilled. It's not like I've been sent here as like probation or something. Next up on our curiosity train is the Dominion ambassador.
I am honored by the Founders and pleased to observe this most historic event. Although the Dominion was not greatly affected by the development of time travel, we have an interest in safeguarding the time stream.
So we can see that the Founders are very much still in a position of power by the 28th century. Although it is good to hear that even the Dominion recognise the issues involved with time travel.
Jolan True, you are from the past. From before the time the Romulans joined the Federation, I'll wager. How strange all of this must be for you. The entire galaxy unites in preserving the timeline. This is truly a momentous day for all.
Titan's Republic was being formed on the ideals of Vulcan, so it's unsurprising that it brought the Romulan people on a similar path to the Federation over time. Glad to see it all worked out. Saying that, Garak had been manoeuvring Cardassia with long-term goals of joining the UFP too.
Well, the Accords promise to safeguard the time stream for us all. I can't help but ponder the opportunities for temporal abuse that will remain after they are signed. I fear great imbalance could occur, despite the very good intentions of all the signatories involved.
Yes, the Teferi have the universal scale of balance to follow, but every action is going to produce consequences. Next up is the Tholians. They aggressively fight temporal interference in our era, so let's see what they think about all this.
The Tholian Assembly has decided to support the Accords. We are concerned that a rogue individual or species could disrupt our development. The Accords do not go far enough. We want to end all time travel for any reason. We will continue to lobby for change aggressively. Should the Union fail to preserve the timeline, the Assembly will succeed by any means necessary. That is all.
Downright diplomatic for a Tholian. So the Temporal Accords limit time travel to research only and corrective measures from organisations like the TIC, and there are some that even think that should be outlawed.
Time travel is a coward funded. The Breen conspiracy allows the fight of the present, rather than the memory of the past. The dream of the future.
Sounds like the Breen simply wish time travel wasn't a tactical option in war, and I kind of agree, but there's no denying that the outcome of the Iconian War would have been very different without it. The next diplomat we talk to is the Nakul one. He's not here to sign, but to protest. The Nakul obviously feel the restrictions are too limiting and that they should be allowed to save their home, regardless of the continual changes that would then have.
The Nakul are not here to sign these accords. We have already been victims of time-traveling aliens. But somehow this incursion into the timeline has been overlooked. Perhaps because of its importance to the founding of the Galactic Union. We proposed an amendment to restore our home world in the timeline, but it was rejected. Therefore, we are here, with all eyes of the galaxy upon us, to point out the hypocrisy and unlawfulness of these accords.
Again, I see their point, but the unfortunate truth is that someone was always going to be upset by whatever happens. It's the same with any treaty, and at least the Nakuls survive and prosper. What about the Xindi avians? You don't think that the Xindi would like to go back and save 1/6 of their species? Or the Romulans? They lost Romulus and most of its inhabitants. We move on to talk to the Kabali ambassador.
We Kabali are quite thankful to see the Accords go into effect. Many who disagree with our customs could be tempted to return to a point in time where those customs could be disrupted permanently.
And you guys have never been tempted to go back and remove the modification that sterilized your race? Interesting. There's even a Borg cooperative ambassador here, not collective. I think the collective is gone by this time.
The Borg have a checkered past when it comes to time travel, particularly where the Federation is concerned. Thankfully, we've had the chance to make amends. The cooperative is proud to be a part of today's proceedings.
Well, that's kind of a two-way streak, because the late 24th century technological boom was also caused by time-travelling Admiral Janeway. So we'll call that even.
These Accords are going to provide quite the opportunity for historical studies of economic matters. I hear the Grand Negus is going to formally announce several new temporal rules of acquisition soon. I hope at least one of them covers going back in time to beat someone to a deal.
I really doubt that. Interestingly, we even have an Orion leader of some description and a Lukari. Looks like Kumarki was true to her word when she said the Lukari would join the galactic scene.
Greetings. Pardon me for saying so, but you look very familiar. Have we met before? Wait, I remember you from my history studies. You saved our homeworld. There's a statue in your honor in the capital city on Lukari Prime. Oh, wait. That's already happened for you, right?
Yes.
Oh, good. Whew. That'd be just my luck to cause a paradox here, today. Can you imagine?
What? Paradox? No, never done that. You should, Hi, Green Lady, help me.
I am reminded of a quote from ancient Earth. And when Alexander saw the breadth of his domain, he wept, for there were no more worlds to conquer.
Right, you're looking at time like it's the final domain left to explore? I doubt that. What about alternate universes beyond this galaxy? There's plenty left to do. And finally, we can talk to the Federation representative, this tall Klingon fellow.
Your uniform. 25th century, correct? You're definitely a visitor from the past, and an honored one at that. Welcome to the 28th century. I hope you'll enjoy seeing what your work and sacrifice has wrought.
It's good to see that the Alliance persists and ensures this Galactic Union. So, is Kronos a Federation world, or just a Galactic Union member? How did a Klingon become a Federation ambassador? You're not...
Delegates and honored guests, your attention please. The signing ceremony is about to begin. Please take your seats.
Okay, so, to be concluded, right? You can tell me later. So, with all these species here to sign these accords, the future of time travel looks to be all set, just as Agent Daniels remembers and maintains it. Of course, Discovery reveals that by the end of Daniels' time, the accords have been changed further to just ban time travel altogether, as the temporal Cold War doesn't really simmer down. For the time being, though, a new era of exploration can be conducted.
Representatives from dozens of species have gathered to witness this historic event. It looks like they are getting ready to begin the formal signing. Of course, this is largely ceremonial. The negotiation... Wait, there is some kind of disturbance.
This oppression will not stand. The time stream shall be free. We will liberate the galaxy from the tyranny of the Temporal Accords. We shall wipe the stain of the Federation from history.
Quick, get the delegates to safety. The Khitomer are taking the delegates hostage.
Was that Researcher Noye?